Welcome to Keto on the Couch.
Nope, Keto Beyond.
Keto Beyond the Couch.
Couch.
Sorry about that. Forgot about that.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yes, welcome. If you are new here, say hi down below.
Now here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday we go live on Keto on the Couch. We just kind of talk about what's going on in our lives for the week.
You can find us on different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to their channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way, every single time it's Monday morning, you'll be alerted to it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, Chris Bear, I know. I know what was wrong, Chris. So, yeah, we got home late last night. I had the wrong microphones on. These microphones were on, but nobody wants us to use these microphones.
So we changed it.
So we changed it over. So, yeah, and we had, I guess there was a blackout because, like, everything in this room reset while we were gone. So, welcome to Keto on the Couch.
Hey. No, Beyond the Couch.
Keto Beyond.
We'll
one
get
of these
it.
days I'm going to remember
We'll get it.
that.
It's new.
Yeah.
It's new. This is only week 2.
Yeah.
So we're going to have grace.
Yeah. So yesterday, or actually Saturday night, we took Rachel's mom and John Paul and Michelle up to SeaWorld. We had some free tickets, and we decided, let's go spend some time with family. Scoot over. We're not centered.
It was nice to just sleep in a hotel room with my mother. We played board games. We cuddled. It was a beautiful time. And that's all we needed. We had, I think we had for dinner that night, we had barbecue, but on the road up.
We found a barbecue place in Orlando, and it was like amazing.
But we had like on the road, we had a couple of like hot dogs, like beef, like roller dogs from a gas station. And mommy was just saying like, you know what? I'm happy with just good conversation and some roller hot dogs.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're with people you love, that's what you need. And I'm excited about this coming week because I think a lot of people are packing their bags for Keto Palooza this week. And the most important thing is the fact that we're going to be together.
That's right.
Right?
So Betsy says, Joe, I love this shirt.
Thank you.
This shirt is actually from Keto Savage. You can actually buy it on their website right now for the Live Savage apparel.
Yeah.
This is their new design, Faith Over Fear. I absolutely love it.
Me too.
They're going to actually be at Keto Palooza, and I'm pretty sure he's bringing his printing press. So if you're going to Keto Palooza, you may be able to get it.
But he travels with a printing press.
I also wanted to mention their limited edition nootropic flavor re-released yesterday. I ordered, in the middle of SeaWorld, I stopped and I ordered a month's supply of it. Yeah. The month's supply ones are already gone. They're down to individual 1 week or a 2 week supply. It's got nootropics in it. It's a collaboration with Keto Brains. And it's like a vanilla icing, but it's got hint of coconut and pineapple in it.
And it was so funny. So we brought it with us to SeaWorld. Oh
my gosh, I had to give it to John Paul so I didn't eat it.
And we were like, too bad we can't eat it. And so we were actually like sitting at a show and John Paul goes, I could eat it. I'm not on, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. And then Michelle goes, I could eat it. I too am not on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. So we had to hand it down and they really enjoyed it. And it was a perfect travel, food. And it was like, this is such a better value, like in the park and good nutrition rather than stopping and getting like park food.
Right.
Like there's sometimes it can be a little garbagey. So it was nice that they had something.
Yeah, before we get into Keto on the Couch, first of all, if you're new here, Keto on the Couch is all about subscribers, or Keto Beyond the Couch is all about subscribers. We like to highlight people's wins, success stories, answer questions, things like that. And I wanted to answer, we've been getting a lot of messages from people asking, are we still going to Keto Palooza?
Lord willing, and if the creek don't rise.
The answer is, as of right now, we are planning on going, but a lot of it's going to depend. So we are driving. We cannot leave until Wednesday, which means we will be driving right through the storm. And the storm would be following us the entire trip. So it would be 14 hours of driving through heavy rains and a storm. So that's kind of like we are planning on going. If the storm shifts at all more to the east, we may not go, but we don't want to let anybody down. So we're going to do our hardest to get there.
Yeah.
And then we thought about like, hey, let's chalk it to the wind. We don't have the money, but maybe we can fly. It would be like $600 each to fly. But
I don't know that
all
we could.
the flights
We'd have to
lay
go through
over
the same
in Atlanta, which would put us with a layover in Atlanta right when the outskirts of the storm are hitting Atlanta.
Yeah.
So that there's a good chance even the flights wouldn't be happening. So
just keep us in prayer.
So we are planning on being there, but if come Wednesday it's really bad, we may have to back out of it.
We're in watch and pray stance right now.
Yeah.
So we're packing our bags, but we're also bringing in everything from the outdoors, like all of our chairs and umbrellas, and just prepping the house just like we would if we were gonna be home.
Yeah, you need to pray for us because we don't even have homeowners insurance.
Yeah.
By the way, for those of you who do want the Keto Brick shirts or the Live Savage shirts, go through our Keto Brick link so that Robert knows that we sent you.
Yeah.
Okay, so go through our Keto Brick link and then click on the
Becky
Live
can
Savage
probably
and
drop
stuff
in
like
there
that.
the Keto Brick link.
Okay, you ready? Let's get into Keto Beyond the Couch. We're going to start off with our Keto College Adjunct Professor of the Week. And this one is from Peggy.
Hey, Peggy.
It was this little meme that said, don't carry your mistakes around with you. Instead, place
wow.
them under your feet and use them as stepping stones to rise above them.
Oh my gracious, Peggy, that'll preach. Yes, don't be carrying your mistakes around. Last week, we heard from our friend Chris, who's actually going to be traveling to Keto Palooza, hopefully.
We're supposed to be caravanning.
Yeah, because we're both in Florida. But yeah, she talked about how she was eating her mistakes and how like her workplace when she was working for the Dairy Queen was saying like we have to eat our mistakes. You mess up on that ice cream, you got to eat it. And I think that we have falsely put that burden on ourselves that we need to carry around our mistakes, that we really need to, in order for us to honor our mistakes and like acknowledge them, we need to carry them. We need to be burdened by them the rest of our life. No, we don't. That is a lie. You put that mistake down, you step over it, and you keep on going because that is not our burden to carry.
Yeah. So by the way, if you are new here, the way we do Keto on the Couch or Keto Beyond the Couch, we run through our regular show and then we hit the chat comments afterwards. So hold off. If you have questions for us, wait to the end, like the last 10, 15 minutes. If there's something that you want us to see right away, you can use the super chat function. That's the little $sign that's in the chat window. That highlights our screen that you want us to talk to you right now. And we can go ahead and do that.
I see Carrie says, been praying for Joe and Rachel every day. Thank you, Carrie.
Very much, Carrie.
We really appreciate that.
And also, because of the topic for today's, or basically what most of today's Keto Beyond the Couch is, we want to say this right now. We are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals.
No, we're not.
Everything we talk about is based on our own personal experience, usually lots of failures on our part.
Tons of failures.
And what we have learned from talking to people who actually are doctors, nurses, or health professionals. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, first we have our subscriber of the week. The first one is Dawn.
Hey, Dawn.
Dawn said, I had a non-scale victory last night. The first C picture is from a baseball game in 2017. I remember not wanting to take this photo and trying to use my sweatshirt to cover myself. My shirt was so tight. Next picture is last night. The same shirt, because I only have one, now hangs on me like a dress. The third photo is from a baseball game in 2019. I only wanted my face in the photo because I unrealistically thought that showing my face, you wouldn't be able to see how heavy I was. I was clearly wrong. The last picture is me and my mom at the game last night. I am not at goal, but I feel so much better.
Oh, Dawn. So gorgeous. So beautiful. And look at your precious mama. That is so stinking awesome. You are doing amazing. We are so stinking proud of you. But I'm like you, I used to just avoid pictures. And now I am sorry about that. I'm sorry about that for Peyton that's on the way. Our grandbaby will want to see pictures of us through the years. I look at old pictures of my grandparents and great-grandparents, and those are precious things. Like, those are the things that, like, yeah, if you were in a storm, we're gonna be taking the photo album of grandma and great-grandma and like running out the door with it. Like, that is important things to us. So right now, if you are not at goal weight, don't do like me and Dawn did and not take pictures until we, started to lose weight. It's important for us to record this, and you're going to change over time. If you're at the beginning or the middle of this keto journey, I know something, you're not at the end.
Right.
You're still breathing in and out, so
Right.
there's room for change. So yeah, like, thank you for taking those pictures, and let's keep taking pictures because I love them.
Next one is from Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Jennifer said, I've come a long way, but my journey is not over yet. I'm happy to no longer have the largest legs I've ever seen. I'm also happy to be able to find clothes that fit more easily. My current hurdle is a new med that causes swelling. I've jumped so many hurdles on this journey, that's just one more. I said goodbye to 244 pounds so far.
Wow.
And look forward to waving goodbye to 40 or 50 more. Only this time, it's not see you later. It's goodbye forever.
That's good. Oh, Jennifer, this is awesome. So good. You're doing incredible. So stinking proud of you. And I love that when you talk about, I'm starting to make peace with certain parts of my body. And like when you talked about your legs, that is something that really resonates with me because that has always been a trouble area for me. And as I've lost weight, like just seeing that the swelling go down, is it perfect? No. But I have said goodbye forever to the fat on my thighs, on my legs that used to not just be unattractive for me, but painful.
Right.
It was painful for me to carry that around. When we were walking yesterday, and we walked more than 7 miles yesterday, it was good to be able to walk and then be able to walk today.
Right.
Because that used to be something that I really had trouble with the next day after asking my legs to do stuff.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and take a quick fade to black and then come back with the comments from last week.
Hello, welcome back.
I was looking to see if Adrienne was here because I know it's her birthday.
Yes,
but I have not
actually think
seen it show up yet.
No, I haven't seen her yet.
So we're gonna wait and see if
We're
she
gonna
shows
wait to
up.
see if you're
Otherwise,
here.
we'll sing it at the end.
Yes.
Before we get going, I saw this comment from Matt. It said, I'm still really nervous about going to Keto Palooza. I've just never gone to something like this for a long time. You got this.
You got this.
You're going to be around family and friends and a lot of people who are going to support you.
Yeah. So if you're somebody that's like, you can even, I can promise you this, you can even let people know, like if you see Autumn, I don't know if they're wearing the hats again this year, the visors.
Of course.
So if they're wearing the visors, anybody on Autumn's team, anyone wearing a visor, if you see Jen Delaney is an ambassador for Keto Palooza, if you see any of these people or you see us and you say, hey, this is my first time, I'm a little bit nervous, where should I sit, who should I sit with? Everybody is there to connect you. So don't be shy, and that's why they're there. That's why they're gonna stand out with in Keto Palooza, because they want to help you find where to sit, introduce you to some people to make that transition really easy.
Yeah.
From, hey, I haven't peopled in a while, or I haven't ever peopled, to where do I sit? How do I people? We're here to help you. That's why I don't care that there's a storm coming. We're doing our best to get there because we want you to know you've already got friends waiting there for you.
Yeah. Let's get into the comments from last week. First one is from Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
She said, I love the name change. If I could just remember how to say it.
He will.
And grateful to the one that suggested it. Whether you do keto on the couch or you do it Keto Beyond the Couch, just do keto.
Yes.
Enjoyed meeting you two and getting a Rachel hug.
Oh,
I got a
thank
Joe
you.
hug as well.
I love that, Sherry. It's always so precious to actually be able to see people face to face. That's why I think it's so important. That's why we really hammer it home, because if you can get to a meetup, to a conference, to something in your local area, it's so important to have opportunities to be around people who eat the way you do, who prioritize the, health the way that you do. It really just makes it so encouraging.
Yeah. Joy said, first time catching you guys live, I hit the notification bell and still didn't get notification. Thanks, YouTube. Some of it is you have to go into the YouTube settings on the internet and tell it to email you. Also, you have to look on your phone. So, do I have my phone here? I'm gonna tell people how to do this right now. Okay? So you're gonna go, if you have an iPhone, I don't know about Android, but you're gonna go to settings and then you go to notifications, and then you've got to scroll down and find YouTube and make sure it's on. So for example, I hit the bell button on like most of the places that I want to subscribe to because I want to be notified, but I have YouTube notifications off on my phone. So what that means is I will get an email about it, but I will not be notified on my phone because I don't want the constant ding, 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 ding on my phone. Rachel likes the constant ding, ding.
It's comforting.
So yeah, so if you have to make sure you have notifications on your phone, not just on the app and not just on YouTube themselves.
I saw Betsy said, even Joe gives hugs. Yes, the difference is Joe, like,
you have to come and ask for it.
Waits for you to say like, whereas I'm like already in the middle of hugging you before you're like, oh my gosh, I'm ready for it. So make sure you if you're going to Keto Palooza and you don't want to hug, like make sure you do this to me because I'm coming in. I'm coming in hot. It's happening.
Next one is from Risa.
Hey, Risa. Hi, you were terrific at the PhD Summit. Thanks so much for being there, Risa. I enjoyed your interviews a lot and the speakers. Kim and Nisha were my favorites. I had a non-scale victory I wanted to tell you about. I've worked in the bakery at night for 3.5 years, and in all that time, I couldn't lift the heavy mixer bowl from the dishwasher. Last night, I decided to stop waiting for help and try moving it. It is a professional mixer bowl made of metal and heavy. I slowly moved it and took it out. OMG, I did it. Freaked out my work partner. She couldn't believe I moved it. That is such a powerful victory. And let me tell you, we talk about that a lot. Lifting heavy things is such a victorious blessing. Right. You want to do that. That is going to speak into longevity.
It's a great way to to raise your HDL too.
Yeah. So I know that it can be scary, but I love your attitude towards, hey, forever this many days, I've never done this. I am going to slowly and carefully try to lift more things. And then you did it. And how is that going to be like such a blessing at your workplace that you can do it, right? You don't have to wait on somebody else. I love it.
Somebody asked, when are we talking about the topic? All throughout today's live stream. So it's addressed in many of the comments. Usually the topic of this week's or whatever week's Keto Beyond the Couch is based on, that's what a majority of the comments are about.
Right.
So that's what we're talking about. Joe said, YouTube stopped the email notification a while ago. I miss it. I don't know. I get a bunch of notifications via email. You may have to go inside and mess things, but because I get notifications all the time. Sometimes they annoy me. But you can't pick and choose all of them. And like sometimes it'll send me like, hey, so-and-so left a comment, but then I'll go in and there's like 300 comments. Well, was I only notified that there was like 50 of them?
Yeah.
And also it picks and chooses when it wants to notify me that you responded. So if you made a comment and then we respond to it, if you respond back to me, sometimes it tells me and sometimes it doesn't. And the responses back don't show up in our feed. It's kind of a pain. So we don't always see them. And so if we don't respond to a response, that's why, because we never got notified of it.
Right.
Next one is from Kathy.
Hey, Kathy. Rachel, thank you for what you said about donating clothes with tags on them. I am guilty of buying things and not returning them. My closets are overflowing with things I don't wear. I have been struggling with letting go of my fat clothes because I fear I will get fat again. Kathy, thanks so much for sharing this. And I have had that issue myself. I was always used to having just like such a variety of sizes in my closet. It was like goal pants, what I can wear now, my period stuff, and then like I am going back to gaining all of my weight back clothes. And I kept that in my closet for way too long. And it was so fearful in there, right? Because even if I was wearing something that I felt really good about, I just have to look down the line and see like, yeah, but you're going back. Yeah, but you're not going to be able to hold on to this good stuff. And that's a lie. Right. So when you donate those clothes, you're getting those thoughts out of your closet. And then also you're blessing somebody like me who's shopping for them. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, and YouTuber, I'm sorry, this is the way we run Keto on the Couch.
Yeah.
Okay, or Keto Beyond the Couch. It is talked about in all of the comments and questions we answered throughout today. If you have a question you want answered right now, you can use the super chat function, or you can wait to the last 10 minutes of the stream. But that is how we do it, and believe me, we will be talking about lowering glucose on keto. Next one we have is from John.
Hey, John.
John said, I didn't just fall, I exploded. This very morning, I had a huge chocolate brownie, huge. I need to go back. I notice a difference even mentally. The fog is set in, so thanks for saying this is normal. I have been kicking myself, but I just need to get back in the wagon. At least I'm not starting at 215 pounds again.
Yes, absolutely. Kicking ourselves doesn't do anything. It doesn't change the situation. It just bruises my butt and it bruises my heart when I kick myself and punish myself because I make a mistake in any area. Sometimes I can be guilty of that if I'm like doing really good in like, you know, my fitness goals.
Right.
And then we get into a really busy season and I, you know, for some reason can't do everything that I want to do. Then I'm like, oh, I'm like the worst. That does not help me. That is nothing that can motivate me.
Right.
You know, that just pulls the air right out of your balloon.
Yeah. Next one is from Beth.
Hey Beth, I just want to thank you both so much for this challenge. I'm 68 and my morning blood sugar has gone from 225 to 125. There's blood sugar right there. Wow. That's triple B&E for you.
So there have been a lot of comments on our Facebook group, in our Mighty Networks, asking about glucose and saying like, listen, I've been doing beef, butter, bacon, and egg, and I've been doing carnivore, and I seem to have a little bit higher glucose in the morning. And we talked about this a little bit last week. It's not the same thing. If you're not eating carbohydrates, do not worry about if you have a slightly elevated glucose in the morning. Dr. Berry has talked about this. Remember, we are not doctors, but Dr. Berry is a doctor.
Right.
And he's like, it is a physiological effect. This is not the same thing as eating a bunch of sugar. Your body will create glucose when it needs it, okay? Gluconeogenesis, which is where your body creates glucose, it will create it from protein, fatty acids, and muscle. So even if you stop eating protein, your body will still create glucose when it needs it. The answer is not necessarily to lower your protein. If you want to have a lower glucose in the morning, it is you need to increase your fat. You may not be as fat adapted. Many people are afraid of fat, even when they come to keto. And over the last year, before we really got heavily involved with beef, butter, bacon, and egg with Dr. Berry last year, during COVID, there was a demonization of fat going on in keto, which was one of the biggest reasons that we started doing beef, butter, bacon, and egg with Dr. Berry.
We're like, what do we do?
Because
how can we help?
We're demonizing fat.
Yeah.
And that is not the case. If you are under eating fat, you are under eating fuel, and your body will not want to burn off the fat on your body. It takes eating fat to burn the fat on your body. I know it doesn't sound right, but you got to prime the pump. The fat primes the pump. If you've ever had a well and you just put a pipe down there and you put a pump on there, the pump won't start pumping water out until you fill the pipe with water.
Right.
Okay, well, how do you fill the pipe with water if the water is down below? You got to go find water somewhere else and pour it down the pipe. And that primes the pump. You have to do the same thing. You have to eat fat to burn fat. So if you are only eating 50, 60, 70 grams of fat and you're eating 0 carbohydrates, you're eating like 700 calories of fuel a day. It doesn't matter how much protein you're eating, because protein doesn't become fuel for our body unless we don't have anything. So what your body does is, I'm not getting enough fat. I don't want to burn everything I have because I don't know how long I'm going to have it.
I better store some.
No, it doesn't store it. It makes glucose to get you going.
Yeah.
And so you have to increase the fat. But if you went from a 90 to 100 in the morning because you're eating mostly meat, don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. It's not the same thing. You're not becoming a diabetic. You're not. Okay?
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
And I know it can be scary to think differently than we've thought for a long time, right? It's scary. This is a scary thing, but we're seeing good results. And that's what really helps, is that it's not just me and Joe on triple B&E anymore. You can look out and there's a lot of people giving it a try and having good results,
right?
Which is a very powerful thing. Because again, if it's just me and Joe doing it, then you're like, okay, well, maybe they're just like unicorns or something, and they're having good results, but it's not gonna work for me. But the more people try it and have great results, kind of encourages you, right?
So you just have to look at your glucose and go, if you have a high glucose and you ate a whole bunch of protein, how much fat did you eat? Make sure you're giving your body some fat, especially if you're early on. Also, you don't necessarily wanna go, my glucose is 170, so I'm not gonna eat today. Because I'm telling you, I have experienced 72 hours in, I've experienced my glucose normally being an 80 or a 90 and seeing it jump all the way up to 150, 180. Well, I didn't eat any sugar. So what happened? My body created glucose and I didn't eat. So it's not even that I ate protein. It created it from fat because it needed glucose. It's a fight or flight syndrome. It needs to create it so that it can always get ready to go, especially if you just work out. Or even for me, if I get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, my body will create a whole bunch of glucose.
I see people asking a question, how do I know if I'm fat adapted?
Takes time. It really comes down to how long can you go without eating? How do you feel? On average, you will start creating ketones within a couple of weeks of starting keto. Most people will anyway. However, it could take 4 to 6 months to get truly fat adapted where your body is just, I can use fat for fuel all the time. But that transition can take some time.
Well, I think what's important too is to think about once you have gotten rid of the sugar and the grains that aren't doing anything for us and like all of the carby garbage, and you've gotten that out of your life, why would you go back? Yeah. That's my question. Why would you go back? Okay, so we're waiting to get fat adapted, but if we think to ourselves, gosh, this is taking a long time, am I gonna go back to eating garbage instead of waiting to get pushed through to being fat adapted? Not me.
Yes.
That's not what I want, right? Because I know that even though it takes a long time to kind of heal our bodies, and especially like for us, I mean, I feel like we're doing better in year 5, year 6, right? Like we're continuing to see good results because it's like equal to how sick we were really in our bodies. So as we keep going forward, sometimes it's slow to heal certain areas, but I don't want to go back.
Right.
I don't want to go back. So I'm willing to put in that time to keep pressing on.
Yeah. Good question, YouTuber. What is the easiest way to get 75% fat daily? First of all, we do not believe in eating percentages, okay? The only place you're really gonna be looking at eating percentages is if you are doing keto for specific brain things like epilepsy,
right,
or mental illness. And there, I'm gonna tell you, you need a coach to help you do this because about 90% of your calories should be coming from fat when you're eating for that type of thing. If you look at the original keto, because keto is not new. Keto is in no way a fad diet. It's been, first of all, keto ancestrally, you can go back to the 1600s. We were eating, our bodies were going in and out of ketosis. Our body is designed really to go in and out of ketosis every day at some point during the day, generally while you're sleeping. The problem is we all overeat sugar and grains, which is completely worthless and you don't need any of it. And we screw our body up and we become insulin resistant and we actually never get into ketosis. But those people, if you're doing it for brain injuries or epilepsy, you need to eat a tremendous amount of fat. After that, you need to eat what works for you. The best place to start is eating 1-to-1, which is for every gram of protein you eat, you're gonna eat at least 1 gram of fat. And so we always tell people the best place to start, eat 100 grams of protein, because I don't believe anybody should be eating less than 80 to 100 grams of protein, and 80 is like way too low. 80 to 100 grams of protein and 100 grams of fat. That's where you start. That's gonna be about 60% of your calories coming from fat. We don't believe in counting calories. Counting calories doesn't work because you can, if you undereat, you can eat 1,500 calories of fat, of protein, and like, I don't know, 150 grams of fat or 150 calories of fat. Your body is going to way slow down your metabolism, even though you're eating a tremendous amount of calories, because your body doesn't get fuel from protein. It gets fuel from fat or carbohydrates. So after that, you can start increasing the fat. So if you want to know roughly 75%, you're going to eat about 1.5 to 2 grams of fat for every gram of protein. What's the best way to do that? Eat fatty meat.
Right.
Eat ribeyes, picanha, bacon, eggs, especially the egg yolks.
Lamb.
Throw out the egg whites if you want, but the egg yolks are perfectly 1-to-1. Eat 80-20 or 75-25 ground beef. Don't buy lean meat. If you buy lean meat, you need to make sure you're adding a whole bunch of fat back in the form of tallow, lard, butter, bacon grease, things like that. Chicken. If you want to eat a little bit of chicken, eat the dark meat with the skin, throw the white meat out. It's worthless. If you're going to eat the white meat, like in our carnivore chicken nuggets, make sure you're mixing it with a whole bunch of fat. But there is zero worth to white meat chicken. Fatty fish. Make sure you're eating wild-caught, sustainably wild-caught fatty fish. Don't eat Atlantic salmon. That stuff is garbage. It's all farm-raised. And really look for things like sardines, anchovies, all that kind of stuff. Marie, thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat. Said we went to a Hispanic-based grocery store to see their meat department. Holy cow, what a selection. Cheek meat, cabeza, kidney, liver, sirloins, and roasts.
Yes, that is awesome. And they have so many great like recipes too. So yeah, that is fantastic. That's a good resource, because a lot of times, you know, even Michelle and John were saying, like, even with their cow, they got half a cow. They got
all the organ meat.
And they got all the organ meat because she wasn't finding it so easily in the grocery store.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Okay, ready? Let's take a quick fade to black and come back with the rest of the comments.
When are you going to pack?
When am I going to pack? When are we leaving?
Wednesday morning.
Wednesday morning.
I started like Friday.
When do you pack?
Friday.
Let us know when
Last
do you
Friday.
pack. You started. Yeah, no, I will literally pack an hour before it's time to leave. Let's get into the first one. Is from Susie.
Hey, Susie, I feel compelled to share this. Sorry for the link, but perhaps it will help someone else. Before I really started listening to your podcast and videos, I was on my 12th week of keto. I was really afraid to modify anything or even add carbs, so I found myself getting really paranoid about branching out or eating vegetables, and it was getting difficult. In the meantime, my sister talked me into this woo-woo retreat in Sedona at the end of the month, and I was freaking out because it is a no meat kind of thing, and even warned that they don't want meat brought on the premises. I really didn't want to eat carbs and was really worried about getting enough protein and fat. Then I listened to you two, and it sort of gave me permission to use things from Keto Chow, Keto Brick, and the like. Now I am calm about it, and I'm sure we'll get through this retreat without carbing up. In fact, perfect time to fast, right? I hope they don't have the meat sniffing dogs, because I plan to take some jerky and pork rinds. Wow, thank you, Susie, for sharing that. I think that that's really on our heart a lot, is to make it safe and calm for people to live out their keto journey. Sometimes you just need someone to tell you it's okay.
That's right.
You don't have to be fearful. And, you know, people have spoken that into our lives, and we want to pass that on. Living a fearful life, living in a climate of worry and anxiety and fear and panic, it's not a good place. And it doesn't help you propel your health goals. It really doesn't. Because I feel like when I am anxious and worried and I am just like rolling around in my mind, just fear, 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 it shows up in the scale. Even when I'm eating healthy, I still feel like I don't lose, because the stress of it all just makes me not let go.
Right.
Right? So I thank you for sharing that. And I hope that we help other people too, to just, you know, don't live in fear. It's not a good place to be.
Yeah. See, look at this. Kathy said, good morning from Scottsboro, Alabama.
Good morning.
I had a 20-minute walk early and I did not eat. I took my glucose 30 minutes later and I returned and my glucose was 121, higher than usual. completely normal. You didn't eat, so you were fasted, and then you exercised. Your body is going to create glucose. Your body would create the glucose even if you do eat. We've got to look at the way our body is designed. It is designed it needs to be able to get out of a bad situation quickly.
Yeah.
So go back, I'm going to tell you ancestrally, but you don't even have to go back that far. Look at the American Indians. Look at the Inuit Eskimos. Inuit Eskimos currently exist right now. They have to run for their life sometimes. American Indians, they had to chase down buffalo. They needed to have the energy to do that, even if they didn't have any food. So your body will create the glucose. Every time you exercise, your body is going to create glucose. It's going to release glycogen that it may have stored, and it's going to create it through the process of gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis is not a supply-driven system. People think that if I eat protein, my body is just going to create sugar because it's got a bunch of protein. It doesn't work that way. It creates the glucose because it needs the glucose. So it's completely normal for your glucose to go up. Kim Howerton has talked about how her glucose goes up when she takes a warm shower. That makes sense because you're taking that shower and it's getting your body going. And one of the things it's going to do is create glucose to get yourself going. It goes up in the morning. It'll go down at night. It's another reason to be eating to the sun. So if we start eating super late at night, we're messing with our body. Our body doesn't understand what's going on.
I saw somebody was asking what is a keto brick because she mentioned a keto brick in her comment.
Okay, so Keto Brick is an amazing product made by Keto Savage, who is a natural competitive bodybuilder.
He's going to be at Keto Palooza.
He's going to be at Keto Palooza. I am blessed to be able to call him a friend and his wife Crystal a friend. His wife Crystal has been instrumental in coaching Michelle along in her pregnancy and helping her to understand the best way to get her body ready because our daughter-in-law is a CrossFit trainer. And she didn't know what to do. She was like, I don't know what to do. I want to be able to breastfeed. And so
Can I still work out?
is helping her with the breastfeeding. And so we're so proud to call them friends. But Robert created these for himself. Started off with one flavor. It was a mocha flavor, really good. It was made with pea protein. It had cacao nibs in it. I don't like it that much anymore because he switched over to whey protein. But it's still really good. But each one of these is 1,000 calories. It is 80% fat, and it has the best ingredients you're ever going to see in any kind of packaged product. Robert eats them himself, and anybody who knows Robert knows he doesn't put garbage in his body.
Yeah.
He pretty much eats meat and these. That's pretty much what he eats.
It was interesting. I was talking to my friend who was, talking with me about, because she lives in Florida too, talking about getting prepared for the storm. And she was like, man, our preparation for hurricane time looks so different. It used to be like they would get like
Go to the
those
store and buy food, buy water.
Well, she would get those like camping food, like the MREs or whatever, like all, because you're thinking if I lose power, what will we eat? And so she would like get all of those camping foods, be like, I got to go shopping at Bass Pro Shop, right? And now she's like, now I've just got a whole bunch of keto bricks.
That's what we do. People ask, what do we do for preparation for a hurricane?
I think Anthony has a question.
Yes.
I have something to say.
Oh, you have something to share?
Okay.
With this hurricane nonsense.
Hey.
Listen.
Hey, we're live.
I know. I went to the store. I got bottles of water for you. There was no water. What's going on?
Always the first thing to go.
It's the first thing to go, but it's so unnecessary. What's funny though is there was still Dasani. Nobody wanted Dasani. That's all I'm gonna say.
Was there toilet paper? Because
there was toilet paper.
Okay, good. Because that's usually the next thing to go. Everybody thinks they're gonna just drink a lot of water and then like go to the bathroom a lot.
I got them like why are people going crazy for this water? This is getting ridiculous now.
Yeah.
So people ask us though, what do we do to prep for a hurricane? We get gas. We make sure our cars are full. Make sure all our gas cans are full. We also have 55 gallons stored in the backyard. We make sure our generators work. I don't buy water. We have a pool that's full, and we have a Berkey water filter. So we could run all the water through the Berkey. And then for food, we have Keto Brick, and we have probably a year's supply of Keto Chow, and we have some powdered butter, and we have some powdered heavy whipping cream, and we have some avocado oil, and we could probably live for a year without having any food.
Yeah.
Just from those things.
It's just nice to know you have it, because we do have family members that have been hit really hard by hurricanes in the past. We've lost power for a couple of weeks, but they've lost things for a couple of months.
Yeah, and that's why we have 3 generators. We have our RV. So anyway, back to keto breakfast. So 1,000 calories. You don't have to eat the whole thing at once. We actually have a video on how to break it down. And by the way, this one here, just in case people are interested, you talk about carbohydrates, talking about nutrient density. For 1,000 calories, there's 9 total carbohydrates in the whole thing.
That's crazy.
And there's 5 grams of fiber, which is acacia fiber. And so you can deduct that. If you're looking for what fibers are good to deduct and what aren't, this one is good. It's the MCT is bound to acacia fiber, which is actually a really healthy fiber for your gut. So you'd be looking at 4 net carbs, 9 total carbs for 1,000 calories, and there's no sugar alcohols in this either.
Yeah.
My favorite flavors are the Nootropic, which is limited edition, Maple Pecan, which is seasonal, not available right now. Then we have
like the peanut butter.
macadamia, and you like chocolate peanut butter, and the
like
peanut butter.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Let's get into the next one. From Jane.
Hey Jane, I am 20 days in on keto. I definitely have had moments where it was quite rough. Going through the withdrawals and not giving into the urges, especially when you're living with someone who's not doing keto. And you have those things that you have given up and not be tempted to eat them. I am proud of myself that I have not given into the pasta, rice, ice cream, cookies, and bread that has surrounded me. But I've only lost 6 pounds, and I'm wondering if that is normal. Am I doing something wrong? I know the first 30 days your body goes through so much change and withdrawal, but I hear these stories that women lose so much weight in the first 30 days, but I have not. I definitely could use some support, pushing me in the right direction, as I want to be healthy and be able to run around and play with my grandchildren. Thanks for sharing that, Jane.
Okay, I'm gonna let you speak to the urges, and then I'll talk about the weight.
Yeah, so that is a huge thing. If you have been really a slave to certain foods, like those foods bossed you around, and as you're sharing them, you think about, like, in all honesty, what nutrients were you getting out of pasta, rice, ice cream, cookies, and bread? Like, what things that your body can use? What about your B vitamins, your A vitamins, your K, your niacin? Like, what are you getting out of those foods? Nothing. Nothing, right? Like, that, it is so good that stuff is out of your body. That is a powerful thing right there. That is an amazing thing. And the fact that you are not giving in to those cravings when they come, and we know they come, it is hard. This is a huge thing that you've done. So number one, you've lost the weight of that being a bully in your life. So I think that is incredible.
Yeah. And before anybody wants to say anything, there is no vegetable that I know of that will give you nearly the amount of bioavailable vitamins and nutrients that you can get from eating beef liver, and salmon roe. Nothing. You eat those 3 foods, there is nothing out there that will beat it. Spinach is not a good healthy food to eat. Popeye did not get muscles from spinach. Sorry, he didn't. His muscles came from eating meat. He's can't get muscles from spinach.
His muscles came from an animator.
Spinach is one of the most heavily sprayed foods. Never eat spinach that isn't really organic. And even people don't even realize organic vegetables in themselves can still be sprayed with pesticides. So that's another whole subject. But meat is the healthiest thing you're gonna eat. So when we look at all these, there's no such thing as an essential grain. Your body doesn't need grains. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. All of that stuff that you've given up, they're things that you're addicted to them. That's why you're craving them. The longer you do this, they go away.
Yeah.
I promise they go away. Nobody was more of a bread addict than I was. And I don't eat bread anymore. And I don't even think about bread anymore. But let's talk about the weight loss. You've lost 6 pounds in 20 days.
That's incredible.
That's amazing. That's a lot of weight.
We see, especially if your site is on social media as your reference point for how much weight loss that you should be losing.
1/2 pound to a pound a week.
Then you can really get discouraged. It's the same thing if you're looking at the checkout line and you see one of the covers of those magazines and you're like, I lost 50 pounds in a month. That is not normal. And I promise you, they're going to have an asterisk somewhere inside of the front cover of that magazine that says, these are not typical results.
Right.
And I would want to authenticate it, right? Because that is not typical. In my experience, I did not dump a ton of weight when I started keto. In fact, I started losing weight as far as inches way before I lost pounds. So I just want to encourage you that, number one, you're doing fantastic when it comes to weight loss. But then number two, you have gotten rid of some inflammatory ingredients that weren't doing you any good anyway.
Yeah.
So it's good.
The bottom line is it takes time. Depending on what we were doing before, how metabolically damaged we were before, it takes some time to heal our bodies. And I'm sorry, but typically women don't lose pounds as fast as men do, but they lose inches. I have a new theory, which I haven't even discussed with you, but coming into keto, one of the biggest pieces of baggage that we bring with us is under eating or calorie restricting.
Sure.
And all of a sudden we come into keto, and for example, we always tell people when you first get started on keto, here's all I want you to do. Don't eat carbohydrates. No carbohydrates. You're not counting anything. Eat as many times a day as you want. Eat as much food as you want. Stuff yourself. I don't care if you eat 10,000 calories a day. Just no bread, no pasta, no sugar, no grains.
Rice.
All you're going to do is eat meat and maybe some veggies if you want some veggies. Don't eat keto treats, any of that kind of stuff for the first 2 or 3 weeks. You're going to eat a bunch. You may not lose any weight, but you will probably lose inches. But what you're doing is healing your body. But if we all come into this with, I've been eating 13, 14, 1,500 calories a day for the last 10 years, 500 calories a day, you can't automatically start eating a whole bunch of food and think your body's gonna drop a bunch of weight. It may. Most of the time it's just water. And when you see somebody who lost 35 pounds in the first month, 90% of that is water. You're not gonna lose more than 1 to 2 pounds of fat a week. You're just not. So what happens is your body has got to ramp up its metabolism because now you're giving a good, healthy, nutrient-dense food. Now, this is just a theory, but I think that when we come in, it's almost like we have to reverse diet ourselves when we first start on keto.
That's probably true.
But you don't have to really do it much because when you go from eating carbohydrates to now you're eating these nutrient-dense meats, your body just automatically does it because it's like, oh my gosh, I can get so many nutrients out of this meat. It could ramp it up quickly.
Yeah.
So that's why do not count calories. If you want to count anything, you're going to count grams of fat. Eat 2 or 3 meals a day until you are stuffed and eat whole foods. The more stuff outside of whole foods, mostly meat, that you introduce, the more times a day you eat, that's where you're going to have to start counting stuff more. If you're only eating 1 or 2 or maybe 3 meals a day of just primarily meat with maybe a little bit of vegetables, you shouldn't have to count a thing ever. You start going to 3 meals, 4 meals, 5 meals, snacking all day long. Every time you put a nut in your mouth, now you're going to have to start counting grams of fat because you can overeat and you can easily start eating 3 times the amount of fuel that you need. Okay, next one.
Did you address hers where she
Yes.
said that she's been, did
Yeah.
you read that one? Okay, that she's also not lost.
Yeah, it's the same. I think that it just takes time.
Yeah.
Next one's from Joanna.
Hey, Joanna. Sure, it's not enjoyable for me to eliminate my sweetener, but the health benefits from resetting my sweet control knob, as I put it, is important to move forward in my health journey. Thank you, Joanna. That is so stinking awesome. I've learned that I rely heavily on using coffee with heavy whipping cream and sweetener to not eat. I learned that I play mind games to trick myself to extend an intermittent fast. If I had not jumped on board with this challenge, I would have never known any of this. I've been off keto since 2019 and gained back 50 pounds. I've struggled since to get back to keto and lose weight and break my sugar addiction again. Thanks to Triple B&E and this community, I think I'm back. Today is day 55 of what I call my road back to keto, or as Rachel has put it, Keto 2.0. Down 7.4 pounds. Day 20 of Triple B&E, down 4.8 pounds in September. Thanks for being here and listening to my issues. I'm alone in my keto journey and no one cares when I try and speak of it. They're sick and tired of hearing about it. So I truly am alone, like so many others. This community keeps me sane and on my chosen path.
Wow.
Wow. Joanna, number one, you're not alone. Like that's not true. You're loved, and we care about you, and we're excited that you're having good success. So as much as you want, please share what's going on in your keto journey, post information, because we care. Like, we love you, and you're loved and cherished. And, I'm sorry that maybe people that are, in the close vicinity of you, maybe people that you see often, are not excited about your health journey like they should be. And they should be, because you're precious, and they should want to have you around, and they should cheer you on. And I'm sorry if they're not doing that, but I want you to know that we really love you, and we're proud of you, and you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
I just saw a comment from her that said, hitting goal in 2019, I ended up with wardrobes of 3 sizes, 14 to 10. I think I'm needing to purge some stuff. It's about 14 totes full.
That's fantastic.
Our suggestion is when you get too big or too small for your clothes, throw them out so that you don't have a back. This is where I'm going to tell you to go burn the bridge.
Yeah.
Don't give yourself an excuse to be able to go back, oh, well, I have my fat clothes section.
Yeah.
Right?
Donate them,
get rid
or
of them.
throw them away. And there's some things, I, for a long time, kept my ratty pajama t-shirts, and they were my normal 2X, 3X shirts.
Now you use mine.
And yeah, now I use yours, because I was keeping those around, and I really needed to throw those out. And I kind of told myself, well, they're ratty, and so I can't donate them, so I need to keep them. No, I needed to throw them out. I needed to throw them away. And I even actually purchased some more pajamas, actual pajamas. We came home, and Joe got me some from Buc-ee's even, because I need to have a new mindset there too. And I needed to kind of throw them away.
Next one is from Janice.
Hey, Janice.
Janice said, this is my 9th week of my new lifestyle. I'm finally seeing some movement in my weight. I'm packing for our vacation starting tomorrow to Colorado. I have all my snacks packed, some natural peanut butter, cheese snacks, and tuna patches. I'm determined to stay strong in these next 10 days. I plan on drinking a lot of water to stay hydrated. I have my electrolytes. Can you think of other things that might help during my trip?
Well, first of all,
eat when you're full. Eat when you're hungry,
when you're
and
full.
that's it. Don't snack on a road trip.
Well, I want to say, congratulations on taking this on the road. This is an exciting thing that you're packing, and I hope you have an awesome trip. I love the fact that you're making sure that you take your electrolytes. I think that, especially if you guys are on the way, excuse me, I'm like a frog in my throat. If you're on your way to Keto Palooza, do not forget your electrolytes. Traveling does a lot to our bodies. Whether you are on a plane or you're going to be driving for a really long time, we feel it. When we were on our way home last night, my mom was getting out of the car and being like, man, I don't think I took enough electrolytes today, and I'm feeling it. So if you're traveling, we want you to feel, as good as you can as you roll up into the conference. So make sure that you're prioritizing those electrolytes on the drive.
Yeah. Okay. Next one from Lindsay.
Hey, Lindsay. Oh, go ahead.
Health is like weeding the flower beds. You have to stay on top of it or it gets out of hand. I may or may not be suffering from weed creep through my flower beds that I have to manage. Also, getting back on the bad wagon of sufficient fat after long-term travel where I had limited control over food choices requires management. Can I speak to the manager, please?
I love that, Lindsay.
So here's the other thing I wanted to say about people. When people are saying, I've been doing this for a month and I'm having 0 results. We need to examine, or you need to examine, do you have carb creep? Are you eating a lot more carbs than you think you are? For example, a mistake that I made getting going was trusting nutritional labels. Whatever a label says, anytime a label of a packaged product says 0 carbs, I want you to assume there's 1. Great example is my favorite saying that all heavy whipping cream has carbs. However, when you look at the label on the container, it says 0. So people, I would say 5 times a day, I get a Facebook message or an email that I'm wrong, that their heavy whipping cream doesn't have carbs. No, it does. Just the company is rounding down because they're legally required to. And now they could make it show a carb by actually increasing the serving size, but then you wouldn't buy it. So even our good friends, Pork and Good, which if you didn't know, Pork and Good released pickled sausages and eggs yesterday.
I'm so excited about
that. We ordered
that.
every one of them.
Yeah.
I love them, but I still tell them, I'm sorry guys, but a small bag of your pork rinds is not 4 servings. It's 1, maybe 2. Why are they putting it's got 4 servings? So that they can say there's only 80 calories in a serving. The problem is nobody who eats pork rinds cares about calories. They just don't. You know, you don't think you're eating a low calorie food when you pick up pork rinds.
I don't think so.
But that also allows it to say 0 on the nutrition label. When I eat their pork rinds or any pork rinds, unless they're completely plain with nothing on it, I always assume it's 1 carb per serving. So for example, heavy whipping cream, if you're having 3 or 4 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, you're probably eating like almost 2 carbs. Because there's 0.43 carbs per tablespoon.
I find it helps in some of the tracking apps if you don't put it in one experience at a time, but you put it at the end of the day, all of it.
Yeah.
So if you're measuring and you get to like, and I know some people that are like over the course of the day in their coffee, they're drinking half a cup of heavy whipping cream. I mean, they just are. So if that's you, it's okay.
Which is almost 4 carbs.
Just track it. So like, you know, and put it in the end of the day. Because again, if you're putting it in one at a time, it's like 0, 0, 0. If you put it all into the tracking app,
It'll tell you what you actually had. If you use a good tracking app. Don't use MyFitnessPal or Carb Manager because people lie and when they put stuff in there. Other things to look at, if you are not having any results, are you tracking net carbs? If you are, stop it. It doesn't work. You need to track total carbs. How many times a day are you eating? Every time you put something in your mouth other than water, you need to consider it a meal. The average American eats 25 meals a day when you consider every time you put something in your mouth. So you're having a meal. So you have to look at all of that stuff. You also may have to look at, you may have issues with some of the foods you're eating. That's why beef, butter, bacon, and egg works.
I also think it's important to look at what is going on in your sleep, in your stress, and in your movement.
That's right.
Because these things matter.
Yeah.
If you are not dealing with stress, maybe it's like, I need to have a hard conversation with my boss and I don't want to do it. Or maybe it's like, I am worried about whatever that worry is. We need to have some stress management.
Right.
We've got to practice some mindfulness. We need to get some sunlight. We need to go to bed at a reasonable time and prioritize that, because if you don't, and we have tried to nutrition our way out of dealing with stress reduction and sleep. We've absolutely tried to do that. Guess what?
Yeah.
Did not work.
So
Didn't work.
There's an old saying called abs are made in the kitchen.
Right.
There's a rule called the 80-20 rule. And that is 80% of your health is based on what you eat. That is absolutely true. 20% of your health is based on sleep, stress, and movement. You can have an absolute perfect on-point diet. We have done that. You may have some results in the beginning, but eventually it won't work and you will stall or gain weight unless you get on top of movement, sleep, and stress. You have to do that.
And I think about like how many bad decisions that I have made when I'm tired and I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
So I can't enjoy even the results that I'm having, because it's very important in a health journey that you have a positive attitude. They say that all the time. If you're going through surgery, you want to recover the best, your attitude matters, right? So whatever you're doing, your attitude matters. So if you're trying to like continue having health momentum, you can't be worn out and stressed out.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna help.
We have a couple more real quick.
Okay.
Next one's from Tony.
Hey Tony, did a 36-hour fast and my glucose finally dropped below 100. Stoked. Now if my ketones would just go up again like they were when I started in January, my ratio would be much better. I'm in keto to get my body healthier and lower my glucose and A1C levels so I don't need to get on medications. My weight has been stalled since April. That is a real stall. No inches lost either. I am meeting with a low-carb keto doctor tomorrow via telemed. I'm hoping he will be able to help me to get healthier. I'm thinking of getting together with Kim Howerton as a coach because she has helped many, many folks with my condition. The only way I seem to lose weight and lower my glucose A1C is by fasting. For some of us, this is what we need to do.
Okay, so what you need to do, if you really want to lower your glucose, and again, we're not doctors or nurses or health professionals, you need to go almost zero carb. If you're struggling, you need to go almost zero carb, and you need to increase your fat. You have to increase your fat. Do not worry about having high ketones. If you're trying to lose weight, you certainly don't need high ketones, okay? Do not worry about that stupid GKI number. I'm sorry, it's stupid. You don't need to worry about, you don't need to have some magical GKI unless you are doing this for brain cognitive functions.
Yes.
Again, epilepsy, mental illness, maybe cancer, things like that. That's where you have to have really high ketones. But even if you look at the GKI reading thing that Keto Mojo gives you, it's not that if you're trying to lose weight, you don't want to be in a deep state of ketosis. There's a difference. It's a lower state because you're trying to burn your fat. You don't need high ketones. All you're measuring with ketones in your blood is unused ketones. And I've talked about this before, but you can go drink a whole bunch of alcohol and it's going to tell you you're in a 2.0 ketone level. And I'm going to tell you, you're not in ketosis. You're not in ketogenesis. You're not in ketosis. You're not using ketones for fuel, regardless of what the meter says. And you're not creating ketones because you just had alcohol. And the alcohol means your body's using the alcohol for fuel and it's metabolizing the alcohol, so it's not creating ketones. But the meter's going to tell you you're in ketosis. The meter's lying. So don't worry about that. Worry about your glucose. All you need to do for your glucose is lower the amount of carbs. Try something like beef, butter, bacon, egg. And even though we've only done it as a 30-day challenge in our community, it's really designed as 90 days. You really need to do it for 90 days. Turn the carbohydrate knob way down. But if you're eating a whole bunch of carbohydrates, your glucose is if you're eating like almost no carbohydrates, your glucose will go down. Also, my personal opinion, and I've been talking to Dr. Barry and other experts about this, is the A1C test is kind of antiquated. Use a CGM because if you're eating no carbohydrates, your A1C may actually go up if you're eating a bunch of protein. If you're eating carnivore, it may go up, but it's not the same thing. But I definitely would suggest Kim Howerton as a coach.
She's awesome.
We offer coaching. Kim Howerton is a good friend of ours. I think that she is a great coach. She really can help people get unstuck.
Yeah.
But one of the first things she's going to tell you to do is let's take a look at what you're eating. How much carb creep do you have?
Yeah.
Let's see. We have another one here. Next one's from Derek.
Hey, Derek.
I need some help advice that I really need to vent and be talked off the ledge. I'm working on getting healthy and losing weight. I've lost about 30 to 35 pounds so far, but without about another 70 to 80 to go. I've been in a stall for about a month. That's not a stall. I've been eating clean keto, around 25 grams of total carbohydrates a day, all from veggies, nuts, and fatty fruits. Of course, lots of red meat, eggs, bacon, and daily bone broth with occasional pork, chicken, or seafood. I'm eating 1 or 2 meals a day within a 3 to 4 hour eating window. I'm only drinking water, coffee, and tea. Not sure what I can do differently. I'm frustrated because I've been on this path of trying to get healthy for 2 years. I'll lose some weight and then stall out and go back to more crap way of eating. Okay, couple things. Number one, you may want to lengthen that eating window. You may not be eating enough food.
Yeah.
Okay. You just may not be eating enough food. Again, we bring in calorie restriction with us. As you're dieting, as you're trying to lose weight, if you continue to lower the amount of fuel you are going to do, which you do have to eat less fuel than you're expending, there's got to be times where you got to bring it back up and you need to eat more than you need so that your body ramps metabolism back up. But a lot of us bring in this idea and we get coaching clients who come to us and they're eating 11, 12, 1,300 calories a day. And again, we don't really believe in counting calories, but when I look at their fuel, their fat that they're eating like nothing. Robert started working with Rachel a few years ago, and Rachel was eating like 1,600 calories a day.
Which sounded a lot.
Which less than 20 carbs, and he's like, you don't need enough food. I mean, he had to reverse all the way back up to 2,300. She's like 2,500 a day.
But remember, that's 3 times the amount of calories that I was eating when I started keto.
Right.
So it was very scary to think of eating more than 1,600 calories.
And you weigh 200 pounds and we're eating 500 calories a day.
Yeah.
And not losing weight.
Yeah. So I
that's-
see a question up there from Melanie. How do you measure whether or not you are fat burning or glucose? Eating carbs only in my eggs, so only 1 to 2 a day. Something is not balancing here, a mystery to me.
I'll get to that in a minute. I want to finish this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would increase your eating window. You may not be eating enough. Dump the nuts, dump the fruit. We don't need fruit. Okay, so dump the nuts, dump the fruit. You may even want to dump the veggies for a little while. Shift over, do 30, 60, 90 days of beef, butter, bacon, and egg, or something like that, and really take a look at what you're doing. Really focus on eating until you're stuffed, 1, 2, or 3 meals a day. And after that, but again, I would definitely dump the nuts, dump the fatty fruits. And because nuts, yes, they're going to give you some fat, but you're better off eating a whole bunch of beef and bacon and lamb and things like that.
Also, you may have some sensitivities to certain vegetables.
Yeah.
That you're not realizing.
Okay. So what was that question up there?
It was Melanie was saying that she's just weary. I've had tears and fears. I come to many support meetings. Hard to hear so many victories, but I come to find hope.
Well, no, you had another question.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, this is the same person saying that they're they've been
Okay.
Okay.
How do you measure whether or not you are fat burning efficient or glucose inefficient? Eating carbs only in my eggs, so only eating 1 to 2 a day. Something is not balancing here. If you are not eating carbs, your body is using fat for fuel. Mm-hmm. Your body does need a bit of glucose that it can create on its own. You want to be eating at least 1 gram of fat per gram of protein all day long. So if you're eating very lean, your body will create more glucose. But if you're not, your body has no choice. And that's why Dr. Berry talks about if your glucose is slightly elevated and you're eating carnivore, which is essentially 0 carb other than carbs from eggs and liver and things like that, then you have no choice but be burning fat and thus ketones for fuel because you're not giving your body carbohydrates.
Yeah.
And carbohydrates, if you look at the oxidative priority, the first thing your body burns is alcohol. Then it burns exogenous ketones. Then it burns, then it uses protein, but it doesn't use protein for fuel. It uses it for muscle building and other things. Then it uses carbohydrates. Then it gets to the fat. So if you don't have alcohol and exogenous ketones and you aren't eating carbohydrates, it has to go to the fat. And then it will create glucose for the little bit it needs. But if you're not giving it enough fat, it will create more glucose because it's the easiest thing for it. So recently we interviewed Kristen Powell, and she's a marathon runner, and she talked about our body, like as a marathon runner, she had her best ever time being completely carb free. And I think she beat her other times, but our body can go for 2 hours running on glucose, but 40 hours on fat.
Yeah.
But we have to get our body to that point of using the fat. So hopefully that makes sense.
Hope so.
Okay. Lynette said, how much fat does your body need? Is there a way you can tell? As our good friend Nisha Berry says, N equals 1.
Right. It's really dependent on you. What you can eat and what I can eat is going to be very different. What I can eat, what Joe eats is going to be different. I'd love to be able to tell you the number 7. Like I love the count. Somebody said that they really like my Snuffleupagus mug. Thank you so much. I love this thing too. I believe in coffee, right? I believe in Snuffleupagus. I believe in coffee. But we have to do the hard work of finding out what works for this. I love the count from Sesame Street, and I would love to say 7. Right? Just a number, like throw it out there. The magic number to have enough energy, but also lose weight is the number 7. Macros today brought to you by the number 7. But that would be a lie.
Yeah.
There is no magic number that is
You
a
have to
moo-moo
find
for everyone.
your fat threshold.
Yeah.
You have to find your fat threshold. And the only way to do that is with experimentation.
Yeah. We always say start 1 to 1, start
And then
100 to
increase
100,
fat from there.
and then you're gonna move that knob of the volume of the fat to find out what is enough that you feel energized and good throughout the day, but not so much that you're like a gas tank that you're standing at the pump and it's clicked full and you're just continuing to let it like pour out into the street, right? So you're trying to have
like that.
Right, you need that volume.
And it's the same thing with people think like, well, I've got a bunch of body fat, so I'm not gonna eat fat. It doesn't work that way. What that will result in is a stall. It'll result in you continuing to cut your calories lower and lower and lower. Also, eating protein alone doesn't help nail growth. If you are eating like almost no fat, you might have your hair fall out. You might have your nails start breaking because you're not getting the vitamins and the nutrients.
Something also is like, for me, I have to change it up.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to eat to my hunger and satiation and not to my watch.
Right.
I think that somebody out there needs to hear, if you have been eating the same exact way, like a three meals a day, you're fasting the exact same way every single day, this is how you eat, this is like your regimen, then maybe you need to change your regimen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like today, we had a bunch of bacon and a bunch of eggs, and we had eaten yesterday and moved a lot, and I still felt like pretty good from yesterday. So as much as I could eat today was like the eggs.
Right.
And I was good. Now in the past, I would have been like, yeah, but I'm only eating these 3 meals. So I need to eat every single thing on my plate because I have like these only times of day that I'm eating.
Right.
Now I really can eat and eat till I'm comfortably full. And that looks very different sometimes on different days in different meals.
Yeah. Let's do a couple more comments real quick. Melinda said, what are your thoughts on keto for women? I think everybody should be doing keto.
Yeah.
It's the proper human diet, as Dr. Bellery calls it. I think everybody should do some form of keto carnivore. I don't think anybody should be eating more than about 100 grams of carbohydrates a day maximum. And again, 100 gram people are gonna be like 100 grams. If you are metabolically flexible and healthy, somebody like our son, John Paul, somebody like our daughter-in-law, Michelle can eat 100 grams of carbohydrates a day and still be in keto, because now, not sugar. When I say carbohydrates, we're
like
talking
a sweet
about
potato.
Sweet potatoes or maybe a little bit of fruit or something like that. But yes, I believe everybody should be eating keto. Tracy, thank you very much
Thanks
for
so
the $2
much.
super chat.
Appreciate you.
Roughwood, I love this. Don't stop pumping. All the water goes back to the bottom. Just keep pumping.
Oh, that's really good.
Michelle said, BBB, my glucose has been higher all day, not just in the morning, and I am eating way more fat than I was. It's a riddle for sure. I will be tracking next month to see what's up. I would say put on a CGM.
Yeah.
See what's going on with the CGM.
That's a good idea.
Erica, what is
Erica?
the difference between electrolytes and BHBs? Both contain sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Google could not help either. BHBs is exogenous ketones. We just did a whole video on it. You don't need it. Don't waste your money. It's a waste of your money. The only time that you really, a BHB is going to help you is if you need a little bit of extra cognitive function, if you want a little bit of extra energy,
A pep in your step.
if you need to focus on something like a test or something like that, and you have a whole bunch of money that you don't mind flushing down the toilet because it's only gonna last for about 30 to 40 minutes. The only exception I would say, and we are not affiliated in any way with the company, is from a company called HVMN. It is very expensive, about $4 a serving. It's like $40 for a bottle. They'll last you for about an hour and a half, but they're
Right.
actually not they're a precursor. It becomes ketones in your body. But if you're trying to lose weight, those ketones could actually inhibit your weight loss or hurt you from losing weight, because your body's going to use that before it uses the other fuel sources. So the only time I would tell you what BHBs are good is if you're first getting started, because it's going to help you get over the keto flu, because it helps your body to start using ketones. But I'm telling, like, a week or 2 weeks, and after that, don't bother with them. We did a whole video on it and showing you, like, it's going to be a waste of your money. There's a very, very tiny percentage of the population that needs them and should be using them, and even there, it's 1%. You know. Kathy, I've only been doing carnivore for less than 2 weeks, and I finally lost half
Way
inches.
to go.
When I was doing regular keto, I didn't lose a quarter of an inch in 4 months.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, sometimes there is just stuff that we have to eliminate, and we don't know until we actually do. Defense was said, I was confused. I thought I had seen you say that T1 and Mighty Network. Sorry for my confusion. Oh, I don't know what that's about. Joanna said, I can feel I'm fat adapted. My ketones are up at 3 and I have no appetite. Plus, I have keto breath.
Yes, that's
people notice that a lot.
Stanky breath is like, and I'm always so sorry because, and here we are, I'm going to brush my teeth like 14 times before I walk into Keto Palooza because yes, our breath is ripe right now. And I can't even put an ice chip in my mouth right now to like freshen up my breath because we're not doing it.
Melanie, hey, where do I find a coach suggestion on someone that might know a case like mine? Beef, butter, bacon, egg, no ice cream, 2 med and gaining weight weekly. 45 so far from an extra small to an extra large. Ugh, staying here. Okay, so we offer coaching. You can book a free 20-minute consultation. Basically, it's a discovery call. We don't do coaching, but we can talk about whether or not we're a good fit for you. We have our friend Kim Howerton. If you are gaining weight on beef, butter, bacon, egg, it's almost guaranteed it's not fat. If you're gaining weight like that on beef, butter, bacon, and egg, then I would take Dr. Barry up on his $1,000 if you can prove that you've gained 10 pounds of fat. Most likely, we've got you might have an electrolyte imbalance, or there could be something else medically going on. But I would probably start with electrolytes and taking a look there and figuring out what exactly are you eating. Maybe you're having an issue with bacon. Maybe you have a sensitivity to egg whites. But I doubt highly that it's fat. I'm also curious, like, how far along are you in beef, butter, bacon, and egg? Mm-hmm. Tracy, I have 2 keto chows a day and a keto meal and less than 10 total carbs a day, 1,400 calories a day. Is this okay? I think you need to be eating more.
I do too. Why are you only eating keto chow?
Only eating 1,400 calories and why are you doing, again, we love keto chow. We created 2 flavors for keto chow. Your keto chow, here's how keto chow should be used. Keto chow should be used, you are quick, you are on the move, you're running out the door, you don't have time to make food, you grab a keto chow. Maybe bringing it to lunch because everybody at work is always having a pizza party every day and you want to be able to have some food. You bring a keto chow. If you're at home in the morning, you should probably be focusing on bacon and eggs and other keto meats. When you're at dinner, you should be focusing on fatty meats. I never will ever recommend anybody do 3 keto chows a day as their sole source of nutrition unless they have something like they can't eat, like when I had all of my mouth work done. You need to focus on meat. That is going to be the best place to get your nutrition. And I love the folks from Keto Chow. And Chris and Miriam will tell you the same thing. Though you can survive on Keto Chow, it's not how it's designed. But personally, I think you probably need to, if you're only eating 1,400 calories a day, start reversing your way back up. And you want to get up to like 2,000 calories and then maybe take a little bit off of that. And you're going to find you're losing more weight eating more calories than you are right now.
Because that's my question.
But eventually your metabolism is going to slow down eating that little.
I saw that you said that you're not hungry and that's why you're eating that. But I'd like to say, like, are you seeing like weight loss? Are you doing well? Like, is that, do you feel like you're being successful, or, do you feel like, you're frustrated with something? Because that's when I would take a look at it also. Yeah.
Okay, we are over time.
Sarah, sorry about that.
We are going to get off. Guys, thank you so much for everybody for joining us. Now, for those of you who are in our beef, butter, bacon, and egg course, we'll be on tonight at 6 o'clock. The link is inside of the course. It will be on Crowdcast. And as far as our live stream this week, it's kind of up in the air. We definitely will not be live streaming on Thursday.
Yes.
The only way we would be live streaming on Thursday is if we don't go to Keto Palooza. But if we go to Keto Palooza, which right now we are probably going, we're probably just going to drive through it, then we will either do it Wednesday or not have it at all. There's just because we have an event we're supposed to be at on Thursday night, so we wouldn't be able to do it Thursday night. So just make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll put a thing on Mighty Networks. We'll put a thing on our Facebook group and on Instagram once we know exactly what's going on. And thank you, everybody, for all of your prayers. And we'll talk to everybody later.
Have a great week.
Bye, guys.